everybody, and welcome to the Straight Out BS podcast. Thank you guys for the continued support. I really appreciate you guys more than you know. Thanks for all of the newest Patreon members. I know at least one person signed up for my Patreon, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I forgot the name off the top of my head. I have a horrible memory, but you'll be listed in the next video for sure. So thank you guys for that. Links are in the description for that if you want to help support the podcast. And with that, I want to do a moment of silence for the person still suffering with intrusive thoughts or anything like that. So on the count of three, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Hi, I am Elyssa, also known as Elyssa Merrimack. I attended Casa by the Sea March of 2003, and when it shut down was transferred to Spring Creek Lodge about September 2004.
Okay. And Casa by the Sea, were you transported or did your parents bring, or first of all, what led up to you being sent there? Do you know why you got sent there?
I was a bit rebellious. I wasn't doing anything out of the norm. Like, I was still a virgin. I wasn't really drinking. I was smoking weed, but I had ran away. Bad grades, stole my dad's car. That's pretty much what tipped them over.
Okay. And then were you transported or did your parents bring you up there?
My parents brought me. So it was after school. It was on a Friday, I remember. My dad had told me to pack my bags, and I was like, oh, okay, where are we going? And I had this like feeling in my gut that I was being sent away because they had always threatened me with that. And so my dad's like, oh, we're going to go to Legoland in San Diego. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. So we get there Saturday, and we met up with my escort, who was like, yeah, we're going to go down to Mexico and go horseback riding and all this and that. And I was like, the hell, Mexico? So, of course, I was just like, all right, yep, I'm not going home. So, yeah, they went with me and my escort to Mexico. They brought me into the conference room, and they told me that they were leaving me behind until I finished my program. And I honestly thought I was going to be there for like a day or two, like as a scare tactic, and they were going to bring me home. But nope. I graduated in 2005 from SEL.
Okay. And so at Casa by the Sea, how long after you got there did it take for you to realize that this place was crazy?
Not long at all. The first night. So, I'm not going to mention any names, out of respect, but my first night there was this girl who slept the bunk behind me, and they were rowdy. Like, the girls in there were rowdy, and the girl that was behind me, she had was hanging on the bunk bed and swinging back and forth, and she was like, I can queef, want to watch me queef or want to hear me queef? And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, okay. And so I just looked at her like she was fucking nuts. She did, and I was just like, all right, what the fuck? Like, this is a fucking like nut house. So yeah, my first day there, I was already thinking like, holy hell, this place is filled with fucking crazies. Little did I know I was a little bit not that I was crazy, and not that she was crazy. I had to fit in, because everybody was there for their own reasons, and a lot of the reasons were the same reasons everybody else, was there.
Yeah.
So, it took me a while. I sat for a really long time until I hit a year there. Then Luke, who was the owner, or not the owner, but the guy that ran it, he was like, all right, you've been here long enough, you need to go in upper levels. And put me on on upper level challenge, and then I soared from there, really.
So when you say sitting for the first year, do you mean like sitting in defiant or just sitting? Because there's a difference.
Just sitting. I did reach level 3, um, and but I wasn't really working the program. It took me 3 times to get through discovery because I kept choosing out. Um,
Would they choose you out or would you choose yourself out?
they chose me out.
Okay.
Well,
Sort of, yeah.
I guess if I need to be accountable, I chose myself
Exactly.
out. So, um, the first time there was a girl that was struggling with her papers and she needed something on her paper, and I
The
wrote on
homework?
it.
The homework?
Yeah, the
Okay.
homework. Yep. So I ended up writing on her paper for her, like something for her. And she just looked at me like, what the fuck? Like, did you really just do that? And so, of course, an upper level, said something, and I was chosen out. And then the second time, I didn't finish my paper on time. And I honestly can't remember why I didn't, but I didn't. Um, but yeah, and then the third time, I finally got through. And then all the other seminars that I had gone through, I went through just one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your opinion of a focus? Or first of all, what was the hardest seminar for you?
Focus.
Okay. Yeah.
Focus was the hardest seminar for me, um, because obviously none of us were expecting to go through what we went through in there and to open up the way we did. And that was like the most effective, like when they did the whole like death thing and you laying in a coffin and your family be, watching you in the coffin and all that, and just everything about it. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But, and my parents, the way that they put it was, they were scared that because I was rebelling a lot, that I was gonna, end up dead or in a gang or anything like that. Not that I was hanging out with gang members, which I don't know, but um, yeah, it was very eye opening for me, I guess you could say.
Yeah. What was your stretch?
I was Tina Turner, and I don't remember the song, but I
Okay.
remember dressing in red and jumping around and dancing in the room.
um, did they have principles at Casa? It would be after focus. It was the one that was heavily focused on the homework.
Shit, I don't remember. I remember accountability.
Okay, that might have been the same thing as principles. That might have been the same thing as principles. Because I remember they had principles at Spring Creek when I went there, and that's the only seminar that I chose out of, and I think I chose out of it twice because of the homework. Like they have, there's the homework you have to do like specifically to a T. Like you can't mess up on a single thing. You have to read the directions like exactly how they're written, and like one single mistake will choose you out of the seminar. So
Oh,
that I
wow.
think that's honestly where I get some of my perfectionism. I kind of had it before I went to the program, but the program just exacerbated it a bit.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
see that.
so you got put on upper level experience. What was your experience of that?
Um, I didn't know what the hell to do because he kind of was just like, "All right, go get your shoes. You're on your own." And I'm standing there like, "But I can walk around by myself."
Yeah.
No, and like at Casa, you are not allowed to speak to someone without a third listening. So, like, when I would run into another upper level or like a staff member and I needed to ask a question, I'm like, oh fuck, like I gotta look for somebody to listen to this conversation. So it was weird. Working in the lower level families was fun. I got along with majority of them. Um, I'd probably say the hardest thing is separating being their friend and their leader at the same time.
Exactly. I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, because I got along with pretty much everybody. The only ones that I didn't get along with, of course, were the ones that rebelled hardcore.
Yeah, the
And
troublemakers, which are probably going to rebel regardless of who is in charge. You know.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, that at least at Casa, but at Spring Creek, I didn't have that problem. Like, I I would visit the girls in worksheets and sit there and talk with them about like what's going on, how can I help you? Like, I was all about wanting them to do better so they could get the hell out of the program, So yeah, it was definitely Casa and Spring Creek were definitely different. Uh, it was a crazy transition, I'll tell you that.
For sure. At Casa, how was the food? Was it horrible? Was it bearable? Was it?
It was all right. Every morning it was the same shit. It was the same cereal, so I got tired of the cereal quick. I remember Raisin Bran, Frosted Flakes. That's all I remember, actually. So Raisin Bran, Frosted Flakes, and I would just get so sick of it. Um, for lunches and dinners, they actually weren't so bad. Sorry, my allergies are horrible. Uh, like we had, I'd have to say, like, hands down, the tortas and the mole were my favorite meals. um, they were just really good. The enchiladas were all right. I can't remember what else was there, but there was a rumor going around though that they had put MSG in all the food because of the girls who were trying to stay skinny in the program. They weren't eating, and so they purposely put that stuff to plump everybody up. Uh, which I honestly believe that did happen.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
A lot of us came. I went in there at 93 pounds. I came out at like 120 pounds. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's a deeper level to it too, maybe even because like I feel like it also has to do with destroying your self-esteem in a way too. Because if you think about it, if you're 90 pounds and you come in there and you start gaining a ridiculous amount of weight, right?
Yeah.
Your self-esteem is going to go in the tank, especially
Hell yeah.
if you're a girl. So,
Yeah.
I think that man might have played into it too.
Yeah. It sure did.
What was the hardest part about being at Casa for you?
Um, I guess shit. Well, for one, being away from my family, especially my siblings. But being there was the language barrier. Um, we were forced to learn Spanish.
I was
Like,
gonna ask about, yeah.
we had to speak Spanish. We went to Spanish class every single day. Um, if we started speaking English, they would correct us. Sometimes they would hand out consequences for not speaking in Spanish. And the only time we were able to speak in English was our leisure time or whatever the hell it was called, and our buddy time at night. But yeah, other than that, everything had to be spoken in Spanish.
Did you feel any sort of animosity? Well, first of all, was there a lot of, was it mostly Mexicans working there?
Yeah, it was all Mexicans.
Okay,
I have to say, Luke was probably the only white dude there.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, did you feel any sort of animosity from the Mexicans towards, I'm not saying everybody there was American, you know what I mean? But did you feel any sort of animosity of like, Mexican versus American type thing?
Hell yeah. So like I saw like I once I finally learned Spanish and understood it, we would hear the mama, we call them mamas, we would hear the mamas talk shit about us, fucking American kids, fucking stupid, like, just and it's just like, wow. And of course we can't say shit back or else we get in trouble. And if we were to go to like Luke or something, they would deny it. Like, they were so like supported there. It was ridiculous. Like, anything they do, they fucking away with.
Yeah.
They they didn't care. What was that one comment where, like, they pretty much didn't give a shit what happened to us. There were some that did, that actually cared about us, but a lot of them were just like, we're here for the money. That's it, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I wonder on a deeper level what kind of brainwashing on their may have happened on their, like, to them in order to start hating so much, you know?
Right.
Because usually
I
people don't just, you know, judge by the color of their skin if they have any sort of wisdom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like the girls that did, you know, rebel, or even the boy, well, no, because they had papas, but the girls that did rebel, you know, who ended up in intervention and stuff, it was like, it was towards them a lot. Or if they didn't get along with you, then we were the assholes, not them. And it's like, yeah, they definitely had favorites.
Okay. When you went to upper levels, did you go on to a different part of the facility where you still, like, where would you sleep as an upper level? Because I know at
So
Spring Creek there was lower facility, so.
we didn't have a lower facility there. It was like the lower level building, and then across the basketball courts was the upper level buildings, and it was like two small cabins, and still the whole like rows of bunk beds, um, and it was. I was intimidated the first night because they were really rowdy, and like the stuff they would talk about was like, whoa, holy shit, we get in so much trouble if we talked like this in lower levels. But yeah, like it was crazy, but it was fun at the same time.
Okay. Did you have any enjoyable experiences there? Like, what was your most enjoyable experience if you did have one?
Um, when the program shut down,
Right.
I thought I was gonna go home. um, aside the program shutting down, we had upper level activities that I thought was fun. We would go on the cliff and watch a movie, have bonfires, drinks. Well, not drinks, like, but you know, like soda that we don't normally get. Um, like those were cool.
Like a movie at the cliff, like they would project a movie onto the cliffside, or?
Yeah. So, uh, there was a wall, and there was like a white sheet, I remember, and they just had a projector and played a movie. We had popcorn, chips, candy, soda, pizza. Uh, it was pretty cool.
Was that for upper levels? That was upper levels thing, right?
Yeah, that was just upper levels. Yeah, lower levels. I, I, it's I have not really thought about the program in this way in so long that I don't even remember like what happened in lower levels for me.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Um, so it got shut down when you were there. Walk us through. Did anybody hear any hear like rumors like in the wind before it was getting shut down? Or was it kind of just like all of a sudden they just got shut down one day? What can you walk us through like what your experience of it getting shut down was?
Yeah, so I was upper levels, and it was the day of PC1, and parents are on the other side at the seminar room. You know, kids are getting ready to see their parents, and they kept delaying it. We're like, what the hell is up with this delay? Well, you know, unexpectedly, we had like some type of inspection or something where it was like police and whoever whoever the hell was in charge. I don't know if it was like the president, or not president, but like governor, or I don't know. But I remember I was sitting in integrity and keeping them quiet and calm because we're on shutdown. And uh, I had looked out the window because the lower levels were not allowed to look out the window. And I was looking out the window, and I seen Luke with a group of people and officers, and we're like, what the hell is going on? And uh, somebody had said something. I can't remember if it was a staff member. It had to have been a staff member, but they said something about they're here to inspect, you know, everybody's credentials and everything, and then I heard another person say, "Oh my gosh, they don't have credentials," and then something about getting shut down, and I was like, "Uh oh," and little fatty, and they called all the families out onto the basketball court, and Luke, he was like, "All right, so here's what's going on," and I just knew. I was like, "Oh fuck, here we go." Like nobody. This ended up being at like 5-6 o'clock at night. Parents still hadn't seen their kids. They're still waiting on the other side, wondering what the hell's going on. Kids freaking out. As soon as he mentioned that we need to, be calm, but they're shutting us down. Everybody jumped up, like took off running, like hollering. It was crazy, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna have a fucking riot!" Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Oh my god, we're all gonna fucking go home, hell yeah!" So, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared for a bit because they were trying to break the like. A lot of people were trying to break down the walls to go to the boys' side. Boys were trying to come over to the girls' side. Somebody had started a fire in the bathroom. Like girls.
So it was a riot. It was a riot.
Yeah, it ended up becoming a riot. Yeah, it was crazy. Um, girls started piercing each other. They were having sex in the rooms, and they were flipping the beds and throwing the mattresses all outside. I was like, oh fuck. And I'm not a part of the riot. I'm just walking around with my girlfriends, and we're just watching everything happen. I was like, oh, this is fucking insane. A few girls ended up being detained and spent the night in Mexico at the Mexico jail. Um, for acting out. I don't know exactly what they did to get arrested, but they took some girls um, overnight. But I didn't get any sleep that night, maybe an hour, because I didn't leave till like 7 o'clock the next morning, maybe.
Did they tell you that you were going to be leaving, like where you're going to be going, or did they wait until you were en route?
No, like nobody knew anything. The only way we found out that our parents were there was if a staff member came around and was like yelling our name, like Elyssa, Elyssa, your parents are here, you know. Um, then when I was convinced I was going home. I was like, oh hell yeah, they're not gonna send me to another program. Da, 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 I'm going home. My ass. So they picked me up. Um, and
Who picked you up? Transporters or
my mom and my dad.
okay.
My mom. Wait, I think it was just my mom and my dad. My mom's wife may have been there, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. I just remember my mom and dad being there. We went to a hotel in San Diego where some of the other girls and boys were at from the program, and we were in a conference room just waiting. And I was like, okay, what the hell are we waiting for? Aren't we gonna go home? And they're like, oh no, you're going to another program. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, can I just go home?
Yeah.
They're like, no. Like, you've come this far, you're gonna finish the program. So I was like, all right, I guess. So I remember I stayed overnight with them one night, and then the next day I flew out to Montana. But when they took me out, like, they were like, okay, what do you want to eat and all this. So I can't remember what my first meal was, but I can remember that before I took off to Montana, I had a venti caramel frappuccino, and that was like my favorite. And on the plane, I threw up all of it. I was like,
Yeah.
shit. And then the staff that we were with, like our escorts, they were like, you guys want a cigarette before you go? We're like, what? So a few of us had a cigarette with them before we got to Spring Creek. And then, yeah. Then Spring Creek happened.
Did they when you got to Spring Creek, were you already a certain level, or did you have to start level 1, 0 points?
No, they kept me at level 4. I don't know if you know well, I don't even remember her last name, but Carly, she was an upper level.
Carly Newton, the one that hung herself?
No, no, no. Oh, I knew her. I was close to her too.
Rest in
But
peace. Rest in peace, by the way.
yes, rest in peace. I forgot her name, but Carly was my upper level buddy, and I remember her checking my bags in, and she was talking to me by herself, and I'm tripping, and I'm looking at her like, and she's asking me a question, and I'm like, and I kept looking around, and she goes, "You could talk to me." I was like, "You don't need a third?" And she's like, "No." Oh, okay. And so that was like something that I had to get used to because I was so used to having somebody else listening to my conversations for so long. Um, but yeah, I went in as a level 4, graduated as a level 5. Did I voted? I checked my votes for level 6 and I got all the votes, but I never voted like leveled up. I don't know why I didn't, but yeah.
Okay, so you checked your support. I forgot about doing that. I forgot about
Yeah,
doing
that.
that. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
what is that called? Yeah, so I checked up my support and yeah.
How long
Uh,
after you got to Spring Creek? Sorry, were you
oh,
done?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How long after you got to Spring Creek did you graduate?
So I graduated. When did I get there? I got there September 2004. I graduated June 25th of 2005.
Okay, so about a year. About a
Yeah.
year. Um, how many people were there, if you had to make an estimate, when you got to the facility?
From that came with me from Casa or
Just on the facility as a whole, if you had to make an estimate.
oh gosh.
Because that was still pretty early, like 2003.
I'd say about because almost all the families were full. There was 24 kids in each family, and there was what, two, four, six, 8 families, or 6 families.
I think it was 6.
Yeah, I think it was
Oh,
6 families.
maybe 8 with the upper level families.
Yeah, you're right. So I'd probably say about like 150 maybe of us girls.
Okay. Okay. And so you were junior staff when you moved there. How long did it take you, or did you have to go? What seminars did you have to do still when you got to Spring Creek?
I didn't do any. I staffed some, um, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't do any seminars while I was there. Um, at least that I can remember, other than PC2, PC3.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask about that. So you
Yeah.
essentially already had your seminars done by the time you got there. I'm just trying to figure out
Oh yeah.
why you were there so long.
Yeah, because I didn't. I It took me a while to get up to level 4, and I honestly like when I checked my
You mean level 5 because you came there at level 4, right?
oh, level 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't check my support right away for level 5 because, well, one, nobody had experience of me. I had just gotten there, and that was like a month after I had gotten there, so I
Yeah,
didn't get
too
support
soon.
to
Yeah.
move up. Yeah, and then so I was like, all right, and so they're like, you need to make yourself more known. You need to, volunteer for this and that, and so, and I used to. One night, I helped Kia. Sorry. I helped one of the girls um, babysit. I think it was Chafin's kids or
Interesting.
was his brother's kids. I don't remember. But we stayed at their house and we babysat the kids because there was an emergency on grounds. And it wasn't when Carly had passed, it was something else. I think it was a runaway.
Okay.
And they were searching for that runaway. Uh, that was a fun experience. Like we got to eat all the food we wanted. And, like sleeping in the same bed was so weird to me. I was like, what the fuck?
Sleeping in the same bed as who?
As the girl that was with me watching
Oh,
the kids.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, and they had a nice house, a really nice house. Um,
Was it on a lake by chance?
was it on a lake? Honestly, it probably. I don't remember. We got there at night, Like
Okay.
they picked us up when it was dark, and I don't remember the outside. I just remember the living room and the bedroom and the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, looking back on that whole thing where he had you watching his kids, does it feel like grooming at all to you? Because I've had a lot of people talk to me on this show and say that now looking back on it, it kind of, by the definition of grooming. I mean,
Um, he he was more close to the other girl that was there. I was kind of just a companion for her. He didn't talk to me. He talked more to her, and I I I couldn't speak for her, to be honest. Like I wasn't really paying attention. Um,
okay.
I was more to like the kids and the TV and the shit that we don't get in the program. I was
Yeah,
just excited to be off grounds and feel normal for a little bit.
definitely, definitely. Okay. Was it just that one time that you watched some kids?
Yes, for
Okay.
me at least. But that the other person was like she was used there constantly. Like
Okay.
she was, yeah,
That's pretty. I've heard that fairly from several people that they would be consistently shoveled around and watching their kids and stuff. So,
yeah.
um,
It wasn't one.
interesting how they buddied up a junior staff with another girl to. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There
Uh,
was always two people that went when they would ask to ask them to watch the kids.
okay. Did they ever take you, or did you do any work projects? Did they do the whole free labor thing with you at all?
Not with me, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I did hear a lot about that though. Um, it just I didn't experience it, but other girls did. I would say like I'm a very like mediocre like kind of girl. I feel like the ones that were like the louder and like quote unquote popular girls that were there who always did their makeup and were the prettier ones or whatever, they were the ones that always were called to help them out.
yeah, the favorites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, did you I know you said that you were like into like the coaching other people there when you were on the upper levels. I just wanted to say that I did that too. I did it for a way different reason. I spent 22 months at Spring Creek and I rebelled for the first year I was there. So I saw everything and I knew what it was like to be put in a corner and like made to stay in that
Yeah.
thing. Like I'd be like 0 points in everything that I would do, no matter how hard I tried. Always get called out for something because I just wasn't a favorite. Wasn't liked.
That.
So I
Yeah.
knew what it was to be outcasted. So when I got under the upper levels, I saw the opportunity as, yeah, I have to be a quote unquote policeman, but I don't have to be an asshole policeman
Exactly.
either. I can
Right.
coach people. I would tell several people, I'd be like, if you ever need to talk to somebody, radio down to lower facility. I don't care what time it is, and I'll come up and talk to you. Like, because I
Yeah.
knew what it was like to not have anybody to talk to and not have any, and feel like I wasn't heard and just feel like I was alone. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely relate to that. Did you see
Yeah.
yourself doing that at Spring Creek too?
Oh, big time. Especially so there were a few girls who were always in worksheets and a few girls who always went to intervention, and those girls who were always in trouble, I always went to check on them. One of them being Carly Newman, and and I was the same way, like because she was on suicide watch. She had the wristband on and just everything. I was just like, please, just don't hurt yourself anymore, because she would show me her cuts. She would talk to me about her parents and how she felt that her mom especially didn't give a shit about her, and that's why she was there. And I was just like, oh boy. And like you could just tell that this girl had gone through some type of trauma, and it hurt. And I would even if I wasn't working her family, I'd pop in and be like, can I say goodnight to Carly, and just to check on her. And I did. And I'd visit her often in worksheets. I had her in intervention one time, and I just let her talk. Like, they say don't let her talk. She's supposed to stay quiet. Well, I let her talk.
Yeah.
It was her. Katie Casey was like one of my best friends there. She had recently, well, not recently, like 5 years ago, she had passed away.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. And I kept in touch with her after the program, and yeah, she was another troubled one. She didn't give a shit about working her program. It was there. It was like the people the the popular girls or whatever didn't care for, like, they had their favorite lower levels, and obviously their favorite lower levels were the ones that were, actually doing shit in the program. But those that were struggling and were getting stuck, those were the ones that I was just like, I want to reach out to them. I want to help them because I know that they can be better than this. The program sucked, yeah, but the support that I got from the girls there is what helps me get through.
I was going to ask you, what was the hardest part about being at Spring Creek, and how did you deal with it?
It was a whole other freaking ball game, dude. Like, the popularity contest was what really, really, like, I hated it. I hated it. It's like, even like the upper level staff were a part of that whole popularity thing.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not that person. I don't kiss ass to get where I want to be. So that's why I felt that it took me a while to go up for a level 5. And, once I did get level 5, I was just like, holy shit, like, what?
Yeah.
So I would, like, my family, my group was in, wait, what? I forgot the upper level groups.
Hope and Dream were the upper level families, if that's what you're thinking of.
There was I think that was Success.
Okay, that was before my time. They probably had other upper level families then too.
Yeah, there was like 4 of them. I was with Success. I was with Miss Darcy.
Okay.
And I left my group.
The upper level groups were just something else. I love them.
Yeah, like I was always excited to go to my upper level group because that's where I felt most supported. I had my friends, outside of group, and they obviously were not the popular girls or whatever, but the girls there, my friends there, they helped me get through. And there were plenty of times where I just want to be like, fuck it. I did almost drop. Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. I did almost drop. And that was scary. But
What happened there?
So it was about a boy. It wasn't even me, but one of the lower levels was telling me about how she was, like, somehow, like, passing notes with a boy. And I'm like, how the fuck is she doing this? So I was like, oh god. I go, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to be a part of it, because if I freaking get caught, they find out that I know, I'm in deep shit.
Yep, withholding.
Yeah. So, well, this girl wrote it in her damn journal that I knew. I was like, fuck. And so, Cliff, I think is his name.
Cliff
was, he.
Yeah. Redhead guy. Yep.
Yeah. He found the journal, or he took her journal and was reading through it, and I guess somehow they had been communicating this whole time with that boy. I don't know. And my name was brought up, and so he had me sit in worksheets. Oh my god, he had me sit in worksheets for a day, and and then at night go back down to the upper level cabin. And I'm like freaking the hell out. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna drop tomorrow. And so,
wait, he didn't consequence you? He just put you in worksheets?
Yeah, you just put me in worksheets to figure out what they were going to do with me and to see what, what the actual story is. Because I lied. I said, nope, I don't know anything about that. I don't know why she put my name in there. I was like, oh, I'm just trying to save my ass. And so the girl that wrote my name in her journal, she was like, no, she wasn't a part of anything. And it's like, why did you write her name then? And she was like, oh, no, I was thinking about her, but it was actually so and so that knew about it. It wasn't an upper level. So she saved my ass, thank God. And then I was good. But yeah.
I was gonna make the comment that it's so crazy, especially at Spring Creek, how the same people that would be like standing up for you when you vote up and stuff like that, when I got on the upper levels, they were the ones that became my closest friends my closest supporters. And it's just crazy how that happens. But it's so crazy how people will switch sides like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, hell yeah. And it's, like shit like that happens on the daily out in the outside world and you don't realize it, and I've had like I still have fucking nightmares, dude. Like I still get triggers. Like if when somebody says a certain word or like for instance when I was working at Chick-fil-A, um the back of the house, they were all Mexican and they all spoke Spanish, not a lick of English. And I felt like I was back at Casa and I was like, holy shit, like what the hell is going on? It was a trip. But yeah, even nowadays, people like if they like you, if they don't, they'll save your ass or they won't.
Yep, they'll be superficial. There's a lot of superficial fucking human beings.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Okay, so did you graduate from Spring Creek then?
I did.
Okay, so you got the Trail of Lights and all that thing.
Yes. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
walk us through that. What was your experience of that?
I I was so emotional because, well, for one, I was for sure gonna miss the support that I had there.
Definitely.
I was gonna miss my lower level families. Like they, I swear, like they kept me on my toes. um, but I had fun with them. Um, like, and then I was scared. I was also scared. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go back into the real world. I don't know what the hell's going on in this world. I don't know who I'm gonna come across and all this and that. And then I thought about my boyfriend because I had a boyfriend when I left, and I was like, shit, he probably done moved on, and it was like a whole bunch of stuff just going through my head, and I was like, holy shit, this is actually happening. And you know, when I got home, I cried. I wanted to go back. Like,
It's crazy how that happens. I felt
yeah. I wanted to go back. I was like, shit, can I go back and finish school there? My parents didn't want to let me go back. Because I did tell them about the 18-year-old program. Like, I was that serious. I was like, I just want to be with the girls again. They know everything about me. They know about my past. They know about my trauma. They know how to support me. I don't have that support in the real world, and like it was intimidating. I just remember being a hermit for the longest time. My best friends found that I came back, and two of them showed up at my house. They're like, "Wow, you came back. You couldn't even hit us up to let us know you came back." I was not allowed to talk to them. I was not allowed to use the phone.
Like contract, right?
Yeah, I was under that damn contract at home. So yeah, and I was just like, you guys have no idea what the fuck I went through. You guys
It's
have
like, where the fuck do I even start?
exactly. So I was like, what the fuck, dude? So like once I was able to talk to them more, um, I had explained to them what really went on, and they're just like, "Holy shit, we're sorry, we didn't know." And of course, I'm trying to get my parents to be like, "Can you please tell them what's going on because I can't." And they're like, "Is that important to you?" And the whole A friend, B friend, F friend, and all this shit, and I was just like they held on hardcore um, to the home contract, and I
How
moved out.
how long did you live under the life contract before it fell apart?
um, a year and a half,
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
So maybe just a year. So I went back to school because I didn't graduate high school, and going back to my old high school was a trip. It wasn't the same people because my credits from Mexico and Spring Creek were, obviously different than California credentials. So
Did they transfer?
they did, but it wasn't enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to take like 3 electives and then 3 other classes. I had to take 1 more math class. I had to take another English class, and then I had to take a history class. So, when I where was I going with that?
I had asked how long till the life contract fell apart,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
saying going back to school was weird because it was different people.
Yeah. So I'd gone back to high school, and then I was living the program throughout my senior year. I ended up having a boyfriend, which was not part of the contract, but my parents allowed it. And I want to say it was like July. So like a year after I came home was when I took off. I was 18, I graduated, and I had taken a couple classes in college, or no, maybe, yeah, a couple classes in college, and then left. And because, they were still wanting me to do the program, and I was like, I'm 18, I feel like I don't need to continue this program, it's like I was getting consequences still, like paper consequences still, for leaving a light on accident. I got a consequence for, I forgot what, I don't even remember. Oh, leaving my clothes in the dryer because I had forgot about it. But yeah, so I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm seriously still fucking living under a fucking program at home. Like, this is bullshit. I'm 18 now, and I wasn't doing anything I wasn't supposed to do. I wasn't smoking, I wasn't drinking, and I took off. I took off and didn't come back. My parents tried to look for me. I went to my boyfriend's house, and then from my boyfriend's house to my best friend's house, and then that's where I stayed and haven't been home since.
Okay. Do you remember what your song was that they played during when you were crowd surfed during Trail of Lights?
I don't.
Okay. They let you pick the song, right? At least they did for me when I was there.
Did I don't remember. I don't remember. I remember during the crowd surf guys squeezing my ass.
Okay, so there was that. Yeah, I was wondering. I actually wondered how many times that happened.
Yeah. And then my pants kept falling, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I kept having to pull it up while I'm above ground, or off the ground and shit. Like, but it was super emotional because once I got to the girls part, a lot of the girls that I was close to were like, "I love you, I'm gonna miss you," and they're saying thank you, and it was just emotional.
Did they have you read the letters from your parents as if you died?
Yes.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
What the fuck? And so before Trail of Lights, did they ever scare you and tell you had to jump off a bridge into a body of water?
No, but then again, I was the last person to graduate before it got shut down. So my Trail of Lights was significantly different than everybody else's. Like they even told us, me and the other person I was graduating with, they were like, so you're gonna still do Trail of Lights, and we're gonna still have you go through that, but it's just gonna be very different than it's been ever before. And so I did all the same processes, but I didn't hike up the mountain like they had you guys hike up the mountain with blindfolds on, right? Yeah, we didn't do that. I was just blindfolded the entire day and had to walk around the facility. And there was only one other person doing it with me. His name's Pat Garvey. I hope you're all okay, Pat, if you're still alive. But they had us walk around the facility, do chores with blindfolds on, and just be in service for the whole day. And then we had that. We read the letters from my parents, and then we did the Trail of Lights crowd surf thing. But so for us, they didn't do that. But then again, mine was different from what they said.
Yeah. So, well, before my Trail of Lights, that was the rumor, was, oh my gosh, you guys are going to have to jump into a body of water off of a bridge. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, hell no. Hell no. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then we did it. But it was like a scared, like, tactic type of thing. And I was like, oh, God. Did you guys get to go to Idaho?
For wilderness or?
We did an overnight at a hotel, and we had breakfast at this cafe type of thing, and then, sorry, I'm getting cold now, and then the next day, oh no, that same day after breakfast, we went to, I forgot what it was called, but it was like a theme park, and they had water slides on one side, and then roller coasters on the other side, and it was before we graduated that they took us.
Okay, so was this part of like the Trail of Lights thing, or was it leading up to that they took you out?
It was leading up to Trail of Lights.
Okay, we didn't do anything like that, probably because it was shutting down and they probably didn't have as many funds or whatever it was, but they didn't do that for us, but we just did the Trail. I remember hearing about that. I remember that prior to Trail of Lights, people would go on these, it was called like the graduation outing or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was guys and girls, so it was pretty cool, but I stuck with the girls that, didn't really care for the guys, but it was cool. How was it before it shut down? Did it, was it super empty, or?
It wasn't empty. There was still quite a few people there. It was just like, I could just like feel in the air. I just felt like it felt different. Like there was just more like lenient, not even lenient. It's just like people were getting away with more shit. Like I remember towards the end, like the junior staff on the upper levels, like I had like fucking 3 mattresses on my bunk. Like because there was less people there. So we were just allowed to do essentially whatever we wanted, and fucking, we still had rules, but for example, I had like 3 mattresses on my bed because I was just like, fuck this, because there was, like half the people were gone. So we were just like, we're going to take the empty mattresses. So there was just a lot less enforcement of the rules when it was getting shut down. But nobody told us it was going to get shut down. It was just like slowly things started to just fall apart. And then when we were about to graduate, they were like, yeah, so it's going to shut down. We were the only people that heard, but they were like, you're going to get to graduate, but after that, we're going to be shut down. And so I don't know how long after that it was before it officially shut down, but we were the last official graduates of Spring Creek.
Oh, that's so crazy. What year did it, wait, hold on. I have to go to the bathroom really, really bad. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, one second. Okay, sorry about that.
You're fine. So, what were you asking?
How long after you left did it shut down? Did you ever find out?
I think it was a couple months. I'm not sure exactly how long, but I think it was a couple months. It was less than a year. I know that. But yeah, so it was crazy. Oh yeah, you were asking what year it shut down. So I got there January 23rd, 2007, and I spent 22 months there, and I graduated in December.
Okay.
So I want to say like before 2009 they were shut down.
Dang.
So yeah.
I know a lot had happened. There was a lot of scandalous stuff going on when I was there. There was staff, you know, smoking, doing drugs with students or kids. Um, what the hell is her name?
Like you saw this, or you heard about it, or you just?
I heard about it. Like some kids would come to me like, "Oh, so and so went to go smoke with." Well, I don't even remember the staff's names anymore. Behind the building, and I'm like, "What?" And like, I guess like a few upper levels, they would take shots with um, one of the upper level staff. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like all this shit was just like coming out before I left. I was like, "What the hell?" And then one of the staff, he ended up killing himself, like shooting himself in the head. And it was while I was on what is that called when you go home for a little bit?
Home pass?
Yeah, there you go. I was on a home pass and Miss Darcy called me and I thought I was gonna get in trouble. I was like, what the hell? And she was like, I just want to let you know that um, Mr. Keith has passed away. And I was like, what? And like, unfortunately, he shot himself in the head. And I was like, what? And it had to do with one of the staff members that he was dating on the girl's side. And I cannot remember her name.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems that there's a lot of that going on. And then I've actually had a staff member that worked at Spring Creek attest to them bringing like ounces of methamphetamine onto the facility. She's actually seen this. So the fact that you say that people were getting Iowa staff, I don't doubt it. So that just, it's interesting that how many staff members tried to be in relationships with the girls. And then there was also some staff members that actually got a girl pregnant when I was there.
What?
Yeah, I don't want to say her name, but she got pregnant by a staff member and they ended up getting married and now they're divorced. But just crazy shit like that. I mean, I guess love's love, but fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Is it really love though, or is it grooming?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's really hard to tell the difference when, especially when you're young and your brain's still developing. Really easy to pull the wool over your eyes, especially when you're in a place like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's talk about reintegration into society after you got back. We kind of talked about it a little bit with the life contract. Did you struggle with any substance abuse, like not counting weed, but just like hard drugs? I know after I got out, I did hard drugs for like 10 years, and I'm actually 3.5 and counting years on just weed, so I don't do hard drugs anymore. But did you have any big struggles when you got out?
Not with hard drugs, but with alcohol. As soon as I was able to, well, I was drinking before I turned 21. Let's be real. I was drinking a lot before I turned 21, and then once I was able to buy alcohol, it was like a party every time I didn't work. I was diagnosed with PTSD in 2015 or 16. I can't remember. And a lot had to do with the program, and I didn't realize it, like, because I didn't talk to anybody about it when I came home. Nobody understood it, you know. And the only people that really understood it were obviously the people we went there with, and to not have that person or those people around every day, and, help you, it became a struggle, And a lot of the girls that I was close to, they reverted to drugs, they reverted to alcohol, they reverted to the streets. Like, it was really sad. Um, one of my was one of my close friends now. Like, she has been in and out of rehab and has kids, and it's it took me I want to say up until I met my now ex-husband, he helped me through a lot. He was there when I was diagnosed, and um, even though he didn't know how to support me, just him being there, just him being there was enough support for me. Um, I was having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, fainting spells. Um, I had, nightmares of being back in the program. It was crazy for a long time until I actually started talking about it with my therapist.
Okay. Did therapy help for you? Do you still see a therapist?
I still see a therapist, and I have a psychiatrist. I've been on antidepressants for like 8 years now, or something like that. 7 years, 8 years now. Um, and we like she'll ask me often if I've had any triggers, or if I want to talk about the things in the program. Like not that anything bad happened to me in the program, just I think it's just the neglect emotionally and mentally. Um, the seminars helped, yeah, but outside of the seminars, like, well, of course we had our friends, and the people that we shared our deep shit with, but it was like, to me, I felt like I I was being abandoned by my family, that they couldn't, that they couldn't. I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
They couldn't just like work with you and like figure out alternatives besides the way.
yeah, because okay, so I was physically and mentally and emotionally abused by my father. A lot of the reasons why I found out why I rebelled. I didn't know I was rebelling. I was a kid, you know. But my dad and I did not have a really great relationship after my parents had split. And a lot of it was because I reminded him so much of my mother. And he physically abused me, like hardcore, would just throw me up against we had a metal bunk bed, me and my sister, and he used to throw me up against that. He used to take like drawers out of my dresser and throw them at me. He would trash my room and then tell me to clean it up. Um, like just all this shit. And when you send somebody away who's already feeling abandoned at home to to that and not have your parents at all, was like, holy shit, you know. Um,
The exact opposite, probably, of what you needed.
exactly. And my mom knew that my dad was hurting me, and she had threatened him with, um, if I if you hurt her one more time, I will go for full custody and I'll call the cops. Well, my dad was a cop, and he got away with it when the cops were called, and it was fucked up, you know. Um, our relationship is better. It's my dad still plays favorites. My brother is still his favorite. Um, but you know, we we get along for the most part now. Like, there's no hate. Um, my However, like when I told my mom all the things that were happening at the program and how we were manipulated, um, and how they had lied to our parents about everything, that was going on in the program, my mom, she felt remorse. She was like, I'm so sorry, and this and that. My dad was like, well, you needed to go, and you weren't doing what you're supposed to do. And what was crazy to me is, like, the girls that I had met there had done way more crazy shit than I did before I was sent there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they did this, that, and the third. And I'm over here for bad grades, taking my dad's car. I returned my dad's car. So I guess I borrowed it, not stole it. He was at work with his other car, and I took the other car and took it for a joyride and then brought it back. And then my dumbass ratted myself out because I was cornered and I got scared. So, but I felt like the shit that my teenager is doing today
Yeah.
is,
Normal.
is normal teenage stuff, you know? And I was like, I would never send my fucking kids to the program. Hell no. You know, like, but I have watched kids get tortured and in what is that called? Intervention. It's
Yeah.
fucked up. You know, and I told my parents, I was like, you know, they tell you that they take good care of us. I've seen a fucking one of the girls' fucking arms broke because she was tiny, and they held her like on her back or on her stomach, and her arm was on her back, and they were sitting on her. Like one of the big dudes was sitting on her, and I was like, what the fuck? Not broke, but dislocated. Like they dislocated her shoulder. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And you know, and didn't give a shit. You know, um, another time, one of the girls like snuck her plastic fork and sliced her fucking wrist open while I was there. I was like, holy shit. And instead of like being, for me, I would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And that's exactly how I reacted. But the staff was like, oh, stupid, blah, 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 blah. And this was a next girl, of course. And they're just like, you know, talking shit to her and like didn't give a shit. And it was just like, what the fuck? And I don't know. My dad and my aunt were just like, oh my gosh, like get over it. That was years ago. Where my mom was like, holy shit, you've seen a lot of stuff go down. And I was like, yeah. It's not what staff or whatever painted it out to be to our parents, you know. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go horseback riding and do this and that, and we're gonna go hiking and you know, self-help, blah blah blah. That's not how the fuck it was you know, in the families at all. So
Exactly.
it was, yeah, it was like, even though I wasn't the one being tortured, I saw it with other people, and it was just inhumane to me.
For sure. Did they have an intervention at Casa?
They did.
Okay. Did
And
you ever
I worked intervention in Casa. Um,
sense of the same thing as at Spring Creek, or was there differences between the intervention at Casa and the intervention at Spring Creek?
it was the same thing. It was carpeted floor. In Spring Creek, it was concrete, um, and um, and those bunks that didn't have shit on it. Um, it was it was warmer, I'd say. Definitely warmer because they gave at least at Casa they gave a mattress, a sheet, and a pillow. Whereas when I worked it in Spring Creek, all they got was a sheet. They
Yeah.
didn't get a pillow. They had a hard ass floor to fucking lay on. It was freezing, like in the middle of winter. Seriously, um, like, and then all they had was their sweater, you know, and their sweats or whatever their pants in intervention at Spring Creek. But at Casa, it was more cozy, but they still sat on you.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's see. So with your parents, you kind of talked about it already, but do you think you could ever forgive your parents for sending you there? My thing is, I've forgiven my parents, but I'll never forget what they did to me. But I'm not gonna hold on to any negativity because I already have enough stress and anxiety in my life. I don't need to hang on to that negative energy. So where are you at with your parents? You said you talked to them about it, but kind of seems like your dad's not really receptive to it. So I'm kind of curious if you'd ever forgive them.
Um, I definitely forgive. Something I'll never forget. He threatens my kid to this day to send her to the program, and I'm like, the hell you are. Like, hell no, no, not. I will never, ever, ever send my kids, ever. Just the things that I've seen and the things that I've heard, that you know.
Bless you.
Yeah, I can't talk to him about the program, like, because he feels what he did was right, and uh, like all the stuff that I mentioned, all the shit that happened, you know, that I've witnessed, and that so many of the students or the other kids have told me that has happened and all that. he just like brushes it off, you know, and he goes, well, you're still alive and you're here, and you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know, and like that's in the past. And it's like, I get it, but I feel like I am the way I am now, like with my anxieties, is because of that, you know. And he he's not very open about it. My mom is. I can talk to my mom about it, and she'll actually listen and, you know, and be there and like, what can I help you with, type of thing. Like anytime that I have a trigger, every time I have a nightmare, like she's there.
I feel like people, and I don't know if this is a situation with your dad or not, but I feel like that with a lot of people, it's just the fact that they were bamboozled and they don't want to admit the fact that they were bamboozled, and they don't want to admit that something they believed in so much that it was the right thing to do. They don't want to admit that I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I think that that's a big part of it, but it also sounds like with your dad, he's kind of just like a, you know, just
Yeah.
maybe not as good of a person. I don't know him, but from what you told me, maybe, you know, he's not the kind of person that can take accountability for what he did.
Yeah.
You know?
He, you know, I don't. My dad and I, when I got out of the program, we got really really close. He was, you know, super like, you know, I'm so happy you're home and this and that. But once I told him about how everything really was, like, he was like, no way, really, really, and I was like, yeah, you know, and like he doesn't like hearing that I have anxieties and that and that I have PTSD because of the program, you know, and I don't, like you said, it could be because he doesn't want to be wrong in the decision he made in sending me, you know. But what can you do now?
Exactly. If you could go back in a time machine and not go through both of those places, would you do it knowing what you know now, and why?
Would I go through it, knowing what I know now?
Yeah. Would you go through
Hell,
it? Okay.
like the seminars, I would say were helpful. Like I'll give them that. One of the things that really, really ticked me off though was when they talked about my mom's sexuality, because, you know, in the program, a lot of them, they're religious. They're either Mormon ran or they're Christian ran or whatever. And my mom is gay. My
Yeah.
mom was, you know, married. She's married for 20 plus years, you know, and uh, they try to make it a big deal for me. They're like, you know, it's wrong. They're like, you're a Catholic, right? I was like, oh, well, I was raised Catholic. I was baptized, yeah. They're like, and you don't think that what your mom's doing is wrong? I was like, no. You know, it was not, honestly, has never been an issue to me. The only time it became an issue was when the kids at school found out that my mom was gay because my cousin opened their mouth. And I didn't get mad at, I wasn't ashamed, but I was pissed that people were talking shit about my mom. But I've always supported my mom. And in the program, they try to make that a huge issue. Like they're like, okay, well, if it doesn't bother you, then why are you getting so upset? I was like, well, I'm getting upset because you guys are making it an issue for me when it's not. And you know, it's just like, and then like the whole, especially because, you know, the LGBTQ community is so open now. Um, it, Back when I was in the program and any of the girls or guys came out as gay, they're like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You know, that's the shit that pissed me off. Other than that, like, I'm grateful for the seminars because I have been able to open up more about my feelings. And people that haven't gone through seminars or anything like that, or like therapy or anything like that, they don't know how to deal like with their traumas. You know, they revert to drugs, they revert to drinking, and I I am grateful that I was able to experience the seminars and go through the seminars because I feel like they also helped mold who I am today. And I'm not ashamed. you know.
Okay. What was the most helpful thing that you learned from the seminars?
I would say accepting myself for who I am. Um, I want to say focus helped me with that a lot because, as a teenager, you go through so many changes. Well, even growing, you go through so many changes, and you got to learn how to deal with those changes and not just go straight to, oh my God, like something different. And fucking, what the fuck am I going to do now? And with me, it was like, okay, so this is another change. I'm going to freaking take this head on and I'm going to fucking kill it. It's either I do or I don't. And, sink or swim. And I for sure didn't want to sink. Um, I was suicidal. I'm not gonna lie, when I got out of the program because I felt like I didn't have that support, and then I was just like, fuck that.
Just like nobody would understand what you just went through type thing.
Yeah, like
I feel that.
I would cry. I would cry because it's just like, I had no friends. I had to start all over from fucking zero, and thankfully my one best friend, um, God bless her soul. She's gone through so much with me. Uh, my one best friend since freshman year of high school, she is still by my side. And like without her, I kid you not, like I don't know where the fuck I'd be. Because when I left home and I told her everything that I had gone through and what I was feeling and everything, she and her family took me in. And she till this day has always told me, you will always have a place in my home, and yeah, and I got through it. It was hard as hell, but I got through it.
For sure. Shout out to all the real friends out there, like best friends. I have one best friend. I've actually known him since I was like 3 years old, and he's still by my side. And he,
Aw, I love that.
yeah, he remembers when I got sent away, and just like they would ask my parents and try and ask them to be like, yeah, I can't, I'm not gonna say anything. Then my parents would just be silent, and then, so nobody knew what the fuck happened to me. People thought I might have died or something. Let's see.
Your parents didn't tell your friends?
No, they refused to tell him anything. They just said he switched schools or something like that. They didn't tell him actually what was going on. Is it your belief that these schools that are still open should or even could be fully regulated at this point, or do you believe that they should just all be shut down?
I I believe they should all be shut down. To be completely honest, like there has not been one program that I heard good shit about. Um, like Jamaica, especially. I don't know if there's. I would hope they're not open anymore. But Jamaica was one of the biggest ones that over there. They don't have child abuse laws or anything like that. They could fucking do anything to you and get away with it. Um,
They threatened me with that. That's what made me start. That's what made me submit to the program. They said
what?
they're like, you keep on fucking around. That's fine. That's good and fine. We'll just send you to Jamaica and tell your parents afterwards. And actually,
What?
when your parents send you there, they actually sign away those rights. It's actually somewhere in the contract. I had a friend pull up the contract and it said, I agree to if it like comes to this. I don't know the exact wording that I agree to have my kids shipped out of state to a different program. So
Oh shit!
yeah.
That's wild. But you were out of hand, right? You just didn't want to do anything.
I was getting removed every day for like the first year I was there. I was like one of those problem childs that they would talk about on campus and be like, yeah, that kid's a fucking wacko and
Oh shit!
yeah. um so but yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
so you think they should all be shut down?
I feel like they should. I feel like there's some scandal in every one of them. I mean, they're like it sucks because the teens who are troubled, they don't need a place like that. What they need is your fucking attention. Their your fucking support. Put them in therapy. Go to therapy with your kid. find out what's really going on instead of just shipping them off. Like that's what I had to do with mine, because that sending her away was definitely not an option. And how my daughter's 14 now, and trust me, there were plenty of times where I wanted to just beat the fuck out of her and just be
Yeah.
like, oh my god, if Casa was still open, but I would never. Just knowing what I know, I would never. And what she needed was help. She needed, more. She needed my attention more than anything. She was going through it hardcore with her dad's, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was so blinded by it because I thought it's what she wanted. So she has her dad that raised her, and then her biological dad. Her biological dad recently came back into her life, um, because he was a raging alcoholic, and and I didn't know how to deal with that with her. So I was like, all right, you're gonna go to therapy, and it, I put her in therapy, and it helped. And then she didn't want to go to therapy anymore because her therapist then told her, oh well, maybe you should give your dad a chance. And she's like, well, what the hell? I'm not gonna do that. And so she was struggling for a while, and the more time I spent with her, like is like the more she opened up to me and became more comfortable in telling me more things about everything, about the boys she liked, or her boyfriends, or about her dad, and how she was like feeling emotionally and mentally. And uh, I just feel like, as a parent, when you see your child start to rebel, it's because something's going on that they're not talking to you about, you know?
And
And
it might even be something subconsciously from something you said or some way you acted towards them. The smallest thing can be earth shattering to a kid.
exactly. Yeah, and I know my divorce with my husband was another thing, was a huge change for both my girls. But my youngest daughter, she's always been very vocal. She's a lot like me, so she's always been open and talking about her feelings. My oldest, however, she just she holds it all in, and then once something ticks her off or whatever, that's when she blows up and lets everything out. And uh, that's when I was just like, okay, I need to create a safe space for my daughter. I need to listen to her and not just get mad at her, because I would just get mad at her when she would act out. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? But and because our relationship is so much better and open, she has not acted out, and I am so proud of myself and of my daughter, for how far we've come with each other. And like, program is not the answer. I strongly believe that.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I just wanted to, in closing thoughts, is there anything else you want people to know about your experience, or anything you might tell a parent thinking about sending their kid to a program? I know we kind of just talked about it, but just closing thoughts in general.
Um, no, just those who are still struggling with PTSD and everything with the program, just keep on pushing. There's a reason why you're still on this earth, and you're not alone. Everybody, you're not alone. There's always someone for someone for someone.
For sure, for sure. And if anybody's watching and you've watched this far in the video, please make sure you like the video, share the video. It really helps out the algorithm. I looked on my analytics, and actually within the past month, we had 645 unique viewers. So if every single one of those people that watch the videos were subscribed to the channel, we'd have a lot bigger reach. And so yeah, just whatever you guys can do, share the podcast. Tell your friends about it. I've actually started posting stickers around Seattle and Washington area with my podcast on it. So anything we can do to get the word out there more. I also do have shirts and merch available if anybody wants to help support or promote the podcast that way. And of course, if anybody asks what that podcast is, tell them all about it, and talk their ear off about the T.T.I, and they'll be sorry that they asked you about it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good day, y'all.